Hello peeps, I'm back. This is Kimberly Purpose and welcome to my channel. I'm a little bit hoarse today, but I really want to continue getting my videos out. So if I found something a little bit funny, you know why. But anyway, I wanted to talk about the Indian mounds. And I found this interesting article here on the Etowah Indian Mounds State Historic Site. And it's about North Georgia. And I also want to mention this interesting book that I found at the library. This one is called The Archeology of the Funeral Mound Ocumulgee, National Monument of Georgia, National Park Service, and the U.S. Department of Interior Affairs. And I believe this one was published in 1981 and it's through Mercer Press. This book was pretty good. It was quite interesting. I would recommend this book if you want to get more information about the different Indian mounds in the Southeast, especially here in Georgia. It talks about Creek Indians, which I thought was interesting. That's part of my family roots and ties. So, according to what my grandmother always says, and I wanted to do more research to find out more about this particular tribe and especially the mound builders. Now, it gives really good insight in this book. It mentions the Paleo Indians in this book, which I find is interesting. And then it goes through the time periods. They were very vague about the ethnicity of this group of people. But I'm going to just stop there with this book. I'm going to read through it some more and give y'all more information about it. But I found it interesting. I looked at one of the pictures in the book, if I can find it. It was a picture in here that showed a replica of what the inside of the mounds looked like in one of the mounds that were discovered. We'll see if I can find that picture. I should have probably put a sticky note on that page. But here is a couple. Here's one right here. It's just a replica. Notice that they look pretty fair skinned on this black and white picture. I'm not sure if it's just the lighting or not. But it's not an actual depiction. It's just a recreation of what they think the indigenous people look like. Of course, we know Paleo Indians were more than likely Aborigines. They were dark. They do mention that they were all Aborigines. And here another, I don't know if y'all can see it, depiction of it as well. And on that picture, it's the Ocumulgee National Museum depicting the new fire ceremony. And it's a diorama. And it's a historic creek ceremony. But yeah, this is a good book that you may want to read. I wanted to go into this article that I found right here about North Georgia, the Etowah Indian Mounds and the State Historical Site. It says here, they give an overview. As the Mississippian culture came to an end, one of the large great cities was here near the junction of Etowah River and Pumpkinville Creek at what is today called Etowah Indian Mounds State Park. 54-acre site includes 7 mounds, borrow pits, plaza, portion of the original village of the museum. So here, this is one of the pictures that were found in that particular mound. It says the history of the Mississippian culture arrived at Etowah Indian Mound site about 950 AD. Mound builders, chieftains, probably moved east from the Mississippi and featured advanced agricultural techniques, a form of lineal government, the rulers belonging to the same family, religion, and commerce. The village of Etowah established relations with nearby woodland Indians as well as mound builders from the Ocumulgee. So I found that quite interesting. They mentioned this particular tribe in that particular book as well. Well, in this book, they don't go into detail about the ethnicity of the group. I'm sort of inclined to believe that more than likely they were blacks. Of course, what they would consider the AKA African Americans, the Aborigines. They say that they were farmers. And I was reading another book about how they captured a lot of Indians because they were farmers and they knew how to harvest from the land. And so if they captured them, they probably put them in slavery because they knew that they were farmers and knew how to grow crops and everything on the land, which makes perfectly sense. I believe that that's what was going on. They were capturing a lot of the Indians and enslaving them. They were not only just killing them, they were also enslaving them, especially the women and children. But let's continue. As the civilization further south and west encountered problems of Etowah to flourish, artwork and pottery, both commercial and ceremonial, show incredible attention to details, and pottery became more elaborate. Satellite villages became smaller and more numerous, apparently began to construct defensive perimeters. And it says here, by the time Hernando de Soto arrived in 1540, archaeologists generally agreed that the Mississippian culture was in decline in general, and that Etowah Mounds site was abandoned. Control may have passed to a mound builder city north of Etowah Mounds near present-day Carter's, Georgia. They said they abandoned. These folks been in this area for centuries, for a millennium, I would say for thousands and thousands of years. That just don't make no sense to me for people to just up and leave their land all of a sudden. Something had to happen. And it said 1540. I mentioned before in another video about the Georgia Cherokee. That was around the same time that the European explorers came down in Georgia around the same time period. They said the same thing, that they miraculously just disappeared. And here they are. They say they are miraculously just abandoned. Yeah, right. They didn't abandon them. I believe that they were capturing them, probably killing them off, and exposing them to all sorts of European diseases and forced them into slavery. Forced labor. That's exactly what happened. They started all of this in the 15th. That's why I said slavery started much sooner than what they're documenting. They just want to strip the indigenous people, the Aborigines, of their heritage of being Aboriginal indigenous to this country, because they don't want to pay out the money that's owed to all the Aborigines, the AKA African Americans. But let's continue. The first mention of Indian Mounds at Etowah was in a journal of Elias Cornelius, a congressional minister who visited the Cherokee village of Hightower in 1817. Cornelius wrote, "Such is the Mound of Hightower, a great wonder I have yet seen, perhaps rendered more so by the obscurity in which many vestige of history is lost. That the Indians of the present race never constructed it is to my mind rendered certain, for they had never had or known the use of those instruments which are indispensable executing such artwork, and they had possessed them, they must have been far more enterprising and industrial than their descendants now are to have accomplished." Oh, this is so racist. Very racist at that time period. That's that, when they started colonizing and taking over, this is what they do. They know that these people are indigenous here. More than likely, they already knew that they were black, darker copper colored people. I won't even say black. That's the name the Europeans called us. But the copper colored race created this, and because they enslaved them or killed them off, they want to downplay it. But this is it. This is going to be part 1. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, peace and be blessed. Bye-bye.